Hello everyone and welcome to Moonstone Makes. My name is Tommy. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as DynamiteTrujillo. Thank you for joining me for a video about knitting and crochet. Today's a stormy and really windy and really rainy Tuesday in November here on the Northern California coast where I'm coming to you from. Thank you for joining me. Again, I think I already said that. Sorry. I got a haircut. As you may notice, it's quite a bit shorter than it used to be. I typically let my hair grow really long, and then once a year or so I get it cut really short, and that is the cycle of my life. So I just got it cut last weekend. It's too short to put in braids, which is always the sad thing about cutting my hair short, but that's okay. I also got bangs. I haven't had bangs since I was in my 20s. And I got curtain bangs, so I thought, I don't know, thought that might be fun or whatever. So let's talk about some knitting. I finished something, and I have started a bunch of things, many of which are gift knits, which is cool. I'm not a heavy gift knitter, but I caught the inspiration to cast on some things for some other people for the holidays. So I'll show you that soon. But first, I will show you my Radvent cardigan. It is what I'm wearing. This is a pattern by Amba O'Brien, and it's a cardigan that is knit from cuff and then this way, and then from this cuff and then this way, and then grafted in the back. This pattern calls for fingering weight yarn. It specifically calls for a 24-day Advent calendar, so pretty much a set of 24 mini skeins of 20 grams each. I used a 13-day Halloween countdown calendar from Spun Right Round, and I was able to do the second to smallest size mostly with what I had. I did use a contrast color for the cuffs and the hem, and that's a completely different yarn. That is skein yarn in the El Merino base in the Old Rose colorway. So it's this deep brown that I did pre-treat. So since it was such a deep, rich color, I was afraid of bleeding. So when this was still in the skein, I washed it. I just soaked it in some water with a little bit of wool wash, and was intending on just soaking it and drying it, but it did bleed a lot just by itself in that water. So I went ahead and spun it out to dry and then re-soaked it in some citric acid soak. So I just filled up a tub with water, put in maybe a teaspoon or two of citric acid, and then let that sit for a day, and then spun dry it and completely dried it. And that's what I knit with. And when I blocked the cardigan, it did not bleed at all. That was wonderful. Let me kind of show you. So here it is. It's got bat wing sleeves, which is super fun. And as you can see, you switch colorways every that much all the way up. And then when you get here, it's really cool because you do a little provisional cast on for the small amount of body stitches, and then it's just a really interesting construction. You end up working in the round and then back and forth like this, and then you put your front stitches on hold and you knit a little more of the back stitches flat. It's really cool. It was a really, really fun knit. Here's what it looks like from the back, and there is a Kitchener stitch straight up and down the back there. I love how the colors turned out. I did not use the countdown calendar in the order of the days that it says to do it. I didn't do it in order of days. I kind of opened them all at the beginning and rearranged the colors to how I wanted them. And what I did is I made each half of the sweater match the other half. So in the pattern, you're going from day 1 to day 24. So all the colors are different. But since I only had 13 days, I split them up, and so the cardigan is symmetrical color-wise. And that worked out really well. I did, once I got to these colorways, which use up more yarn than these colorways, towards the end I did run out of half the skein once I got to the last couple of rounds or rows for those end colorways. So I just kind of shortened those stripes, and I ended up with enough yarn. I would have been able to do this 13th colorway all the way across, but because I stopped the other colorways a little sooner, it would have been a little wider, and so I just added some of day one to the very middle. I don't know, I thought that would look pretty okay, and I'm fine with it. There's like one little stripe of a vaguely contrasting color right in the middle where the Kitchener is. Color-wise, I'm super happy with how this turned out. I love how it looks. And then that contrasting skein yarn is for the button band and the hem. I love the length. I knit it exactly to pattern in terms of, you know, length and size and all that stuff. I did create buttonholes like the pattern calls for in one part of the button band, but I haven't put any buttons on it yet. I don't know if I will. I might. Oftentimes I include button bands. I include buttonholes in my button bands and then never put on buttons. I don't often wear like loose cardigans like this closed. I typically wear them open, and I'm just kind of too lazy to go ahead and add the buttons if I'm never going to use them. But I may do it. So if I were to add buttons, oh my goodness, sorry, I feel like a little kid. I'm just like jumping around all over the place. But she calls for buttons kind of just at the bottom here. So it would close kind of like that. I did add buttonholes higher up just in case I wanted it a little more closed. I would like to add buttons just to kind of experiment with how I wear it, but I'm lazy and I haven't done it yet. But I do want to. I have like a ton of just like plain black plastic buttons that I can use on this. So I'll probably do that at some point. It's so windy here. We're having like a storm moment. There is like a storm moving through. It's supposed to be pretty torrential tonight and tomorrow. So, yeah. I haven't found too many things I like wearing it over yet. I like how it looks over this sleeveless black dress. But I would like to be able to wear it over something with long sleeves because it's pretty cold right now. And this is a very like, for me, a very kind of summery, springy vibe. It's really thin, superwash merino yarn, fingering weight, and I am comfortable wearing it over this sleeveless dress. So it's a little too cold right now to be like rocking this look, but I want to wear it still over something long sleeve. But so far I've tried it over a few long sleeve dresses, and I don't love how it looks. It's also one of these things where it likes to do that. It's not a totally stay-on friendly kind of cardigan. So, you know, that's kind of what adds to its kind of summer spring vibe to me, is that it's okay if it's warm out and I'm wearing a really thin, light, flowy cardigan and it kind of starts doing that. Like, that's not a big deal, but when it's cold, I don't really want that to happen. I want it like this. But so I haven't actually gotten the opportunity to wear it out yet. It's just been too cold, but I'm hoping I can try it over some more long sleevey things. And maybe with long sleeves it'll stay put a little better. I don't know, but I really enjoy how it came out. That is all for the Radvent cardigan. I do have leftovers. Also, I bought some new knitting bags. They were a set. It's been a really very long time since I've purchased any like non-essential knitting accessories, you know what I mean? Like bags and stitch markers and stuff. I'm kind of not in that phase right now. But these are some Delaque bags. They were having a trunk show at my local yarn shop that I work at, and they were really reasonably priced, and I just thought they were cute. I think they're waxed canvas, and I thought they'd be cool for like kind of like by the couch. These are the current projects that I'm working on right now. They sit open kind of things, and I've been enjoying them. But anyway, in here I have all my leftover yarn from this cardigan, because for the colorways that kind of are the sleevier ones, I have a lot of leftover yarn. So this is a bunch of the yarn that I have left over. I would like to make some socks with the leftover yarn, kind of to match my cardigan. I think that would be really fun. And so I think what I'll do is split up all my minis, split them in half, and then maybe make like two matching magic balls or something, and then make some stripy socks. I would enjoy doing that. I believe I will do that. Next, I have another FO. Ooh, I have an FO that I actually finished less than an hour ago. And it's a scrunchie. I decided to make scrunchies for Christmas presents. And this first one I started yesterday and I finished this morning. That has been with some like kid-free knitting time, so I imagine the rest might take me a little longer. But I'm so happy with how this came out. So let me tell you what pattern I used. I like didn't write it down. It's the free one. It's the free scrunchie pattern. It's really good. So this is the Soho Scrunchie by Tori Yu. It's a free pattern, and it is written for several different weights of yarn. It has instructions for a mini one, a medium one, and a jumbo one. And that means like how much fabric is... Oh no, you're in shadows again. I don't know why I do this every time. Let me move you a little bit. Are we less in shadows now? Okay, let's try that. So this would be skinnier for the smaller one or puffier for the jumbo one. So this is the medium one. And it's written for either fingering, sport/DK worsted, or bulky. The gauge doesn't matter like too much. It gives you needle suggestions, cast on stitches for all those different weights, and then different knitting instructions for length for either the small, medium, or jumbo. This was so fun. So you do a provisional cast on, and then you knit a couple inches, and then you Kitchener stitch the beginning and the end together around a hair elastic. So for this one I'm so disorganized over here. I used this yarn, which is Moonstone Dyeworks, and the Yak Sock base in the After Dark colorway, which is discontinued because I no longer dye yarn. Sorry. But I used it held double, so this was fingering weight held double on a size US 6 needle. And I used I'll show you later, I used my Chiaogu minis, like the really short ones, the ones meant for like sleeves and stuff, like the 9-inch circulars. I rarely use them, but this is like the perfect project for them. And I really like it. It's so cute. So that's what it looks like wearing it on your wrist. I'm not going to put it in my hair. With my really short hair, this one is actually too big. So it's like it makes my hair stick out too much. Anyway, so this one will be a gift. These are all going to be gifts. Hopefully I'll make one for myself. But yeah, I'm planning on making one for all of the like women in my family. So like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I'm planning on making 7 of these, plus one for myself, so hopefully 8. Hopefully I can get that done in time for Christmas or whatever. I have a bag of yarn that I have picked out to try to make a bunch of these with. And I also am going to, I think, experiment with different hair elastics. So this one here, see what I mean? The one that I made already is made with this kind of hair elastic. So it's like, kind of like, this is the small one, right? These are the kinds that I used to like using in my hair with my braids. So this is a small one. This is kind of like the regular bigger size, but then this is the thicker one in that bigger size. I used this one for this. And I think for the next one, I'm going to try this one. And in the pattern, it looks like you're using one more around this size, but I feel like these are a little. I don't know. I think I'm going to experiment with all of these and see which one works best. I did buy some elastic. These are all just like from my hair tie bin. And like, I don't have a hair tie bin, but it's from my collection. I bought some elastics at the dollar store thinking I would use them for this project and just use all from this $1.25 pack of hair elastics. And I got these freaking jumbo things thinking that they would be really good. But now I think they might be a little too much, a little too thick and bulky. So I think I might have to go back and buy more. Maybe of these. I'm not sure yet. We're going to experiment. We're going to see. We're going to see what works best. So the next one I have on my needles right now is this one. And as you can see, that gray yarn is my provisional cast on. The method that it calls for in the pattern, it kind of links to a tutorial. I think it's a Purl Soho tutorial. And it's one of the methods that you use a crochet hook for and then have waste yarn. And so I'm only two rows in right now. But for this one, I'm using this yarn, which is, Alchemy Yarns. I don't know. This is a single skein that's been in my stash for a really long time. It was this very super duper expensive, like luxury yarn from my old local yarn shop, which is no longer in business. And I won it from them and I never knew what to do with it. So I've slowly used it throughout over time. I don't know what it is. It's Alchemy Yarns. I'm pretty sure it has mohair and silk in it. And I remember it's supposed to be like an Aran weight, but I feel like it's a little more like actual like girth wise, I think it's more of like a sport, maybe a DK if we're being generous, but I could see how it would knit up as an Aran with all the floof. But I'm using it as a sport/DK in terms of the numbers and the needle size. So I'm knitting it at the same gauge as this one, which was 2 fingering weight yarns held together. And I think this one's going to be a little bit of a looser gauge. And I like the idea of that. In looking at the other scrunchies that people have made on Ravelry and stuff and at other patterns, I do really like the look of like a less dense gauge with like a fluffier like mohair lace weight held with a fingering. I think those look really pretty. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this one knits up because this one is definitely has that like fluff factor. And yeah. I kind of thought about just practically what it would be like to have like a wool scrunchie. It doesn't seem like the best idea to me, and so I looked in my stash for silk because silk is pretty hair friendly. I have a wool and silk blend, and I don't have much like silk mohair lace, but I do have a little bit. So I thought I'm gonna experiment. Like I said, I got a bunch of different yarns for this. So I've got some DK, just like merino superwash. I feel like superwash is kind of a good choice. I have a bunch of different fingering weights that I thought would be fun to like hold together and do kind of some marling. So we'll see how it goes. I think it's gonna be fun to experiment with texture and color and stuff in these scrunchies, and they're really quick and I'm super excited. So this is one of my Chiaogu like mini interchangeable needles. This is the US 6. Cool, I'm excited about this project. I also have yarn in here in this bag oh, this is the cool side. This is this Handmade Life bag. I also have yarn in here for a hat that I'm going to crochet my mom for Christmas. She sent me a link to a crocheted bucket hat that she likes and asked for that for Christmas. And she said she wanted it in brown. So luckily, crochet bucket hats are not hard to figure out how to do. I know there are like 1,000 YouTube tutorials, so I'll probably use one of those. I have 2 balls of this Rowan Soft Yak DK in my stash that were both actually sent to me as a gift from a viewer. Thank you, because I'm so excited to use this. So this is cotton and yak, and it's and nylon. Cotton, yak, and nylon. And I have 2 balls, and so I think that's going to be great. This is DK weight, so I will figure that out and show you when it's something. Okay, and now I have another gift knit. I am knitting a pair of socks for my brother-in-law. So in my husband's family, in our like Christmas circle up here, we do a Secret Santa gift exchange, and I got my brother-in-law. And so I decided to knit him a pair of socks, and his gift is going to be a pair of hand-knit socks and a bottle of whiskey. So I got some Regia yarn. I knew I wanted to knit him some socks that were not fingering weight. For one, they would just take too long, and I'm not into knitting fingering weight socks for other people in this way. So I got the Regia 6-ply, which is, according to some sources, a sport, and according to some sources, a DK. So I got the like Arnie and Carlos line that has like the color changing effect, whatever. And it's the color 04010. I'm pretty sure it has a name too, but it is not on the label, so I don't know it. But here it is. Here's the skein. It's blues and grays and orange. And here's what I have knitted up so far. So the plan is to do an all-over 2x2 rib sock, and probably a heel flapping gusset, and then just 2x2 on the top of the foot, stockinette on the bottom, obviously. And he has like a similarly sized but differently shaped foot as my husband, so I'm kind of using my husband as a reference. And I think I'm almost done with the leg. I am knitting this on a size US 2, which is a 2.75 millimeter. 2.75 millimeter needle, magic loop, and the yarn calls for at minimum a 3 millimeter. Well, it says 3 to 4 millimeter or US 3 to 6. And I think typically not you, but some people would knit a DK weight sock on a US size 3. Or maybe even 4. I like to knit sport weight socks on 1.5s. So I knit fingering weight socks on 1s, sport weight socks on 1.5s. And so I considered doing a 2.5 for this yarn, but I figured since it's I can't really tell if it's sport or DK, I'd go for a 2. And I'm pretty happy with the gauge. It's definitely on the tighter side, but I feel like I gotta get these needles to stop clinking at you. Hold on, let me just, there we go. Okay, so the gauge is tight, but it's 2x2 ribbing, and I feel like a tighter gauge on a gift knit sock like this is pretty good. It's gonna make it hardier. Sorry, excuse my, that is from my 3-year-old son got a stamp, and he's been really into stamping people. So I have a stamp. It's just a circle. Yes. So I like the tight gauge in these socks. I'm gonna stick with the 2. I think that was a good choice. And they stretch out quite a lot, so I think they're gonna be good. I think having a tight gauge, but having it be super stretchy is gonna be good for not exactly being able to like try it on him as I go. And I heard this on a knitting podcast recently. I regret to tell you that I don't remember who said it, but somebody said it recently, and it really stuck with me, and I think I'm going to implement it here. So, knitting, oh, I think I know who it was. It was, Woolly Mammoth Fibers. I'm really sorry, I don't remember her name, but I really love her YouTube channel, Woolly Mammoth Fibers. So I think it was her who said this. I could be totally freaking wrong though. But when you are knitting socks with I don't remember if she specifically said a non-superwash yarn or just like a more rustic yarn. I think it was non-superwash. I think this is like her tip for knitting non-superwash socks. Regia, this sock yarn is like a washable wool. It doesn't say it's non-superwash, so I think there's like a little bit of a difference between, I mean, there's definitely a difference between like your traditional, I don't know, American or whatever, like superwash sock yarn, superwash nylon merino sock yarn, and like what Regia is, because this is definitely, it's a different yarn. It has a different feel. So it says it's washable, but it definitely will slowly felt over time. I know that from experience. So her suggestion, I don't know why it's taking me so long to say this, I'm sorry, is that you knit your socks a little bit bigger than your foot. And that way, over time, as you wear them and as they naturally felt because you're wearing them on your feet, even if you're not washing them in the washing machine, they're still going to felt a little bit as you wear them and hand wash them. They will kind of felt down and fit your foot perfectly after they do inevitably shrink a little bit. And so I don't know why I've never thought of that before, because I love non-superwash socks, and I've just always like accepted the fact that they're slowly gonna get a little felted and get a little bit small and tight. And of course, that makes so much sense. Just knit them a little bit bigger, and then when they do eventually felt a little bit, they fit great. So that's been kind of like, that lives here now for sure, for all future non-superwash socks. So I'm hoping that this turns out a little bit big. I mean, it's also just really stretchy, so I don't know. I am not that experienced knitting socks for other people, so it's a little bit not worrisome, but you know, it's just like a thing. Like I can't try them on him as I go. So that's what I'm keeping in mind. I'm going to do them a little longer than this. I'm going to do the foot a little longer than I think is necessary maybe, and they're really stretchy, so I am having a really good time knitting these socks. They're knitting up really fast because it's thicker yarn, it's on a bigger needle, and I just love knitting with Regia and what's the other one? I don't know why I don't know why I start saying things and I don't know how to finish them. Anyway, I love knitting with this yarn, and I don't do it enough. Cool. He also has a baby daughter, and I thought it would be kind of fun to knit her a pair of matching socks for Christmas. So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. What's next? More socks. More socks for other people. Here is a pair of socks for my son River, who is 3. These are being knit using some more Moonstone Dyeworks yarn. This is Christmas on Mars on my old Stellina base. So it's a little bit sparkly. And this is the yarn he chose for his socks. I'm almost done. So it's oh, I forgot to mention too. My last socks, these ones, they are 64 stitches. So 64 stitches on a US 2 with sport/DK yarn. These ones are 52 stitches on a size 1 needle with fingering weight yarn. I cast on top down, did a little bit of a 2x2 cuff, and then the rest is just stockinette. It's a heel flapping gusset. And then the toe I left on hold because as I have been knitting these, I have been trying them on his foot, and they've been great, but once I got to the end of the toe, it was during his like basketball practice. And so I couldn't try them on him to see if I needed like an extra row or anything. So I just put them on waist yarn so that I could start the next sock. So these are on my, like I said, size 1 Xiaogu. These are my mini twist interchangeable needles. And that's that one so far. And that's it for those. That's all the sock situation for right now. Maybe I do need the buttons. Now, because if I had the buttons, it would just do the same thing. It would just like be attached as it did it. Whatever, it's fine. It's cute. It's just not the most wintry thing in the world. Okay, next, let's just go into my other thing that isn't for me. I'm doing lots of things for other people right now. It's great. I'm so generous. Here is a stack of granny squares. And this is going to be for a granny square cardigan for my daughter, Lucy. I am not using a pattern for this. Pretty much I have collectively watched hours of YouTube footage of other people documenting their granny square cardigan making things. I went through a really heavy phase where that's just all I wanted to watch was other people's crochet vlogs, particularly granny square things, particularly granny square cardigans. So I've watched a lot of those. And basically I'm using this yarn, basically. It's the Made with Love, the Cottony one. It's the Tom Daly yarn from, is it Lion Brand? Yeah, Lion Brand. This is a worsted weight 60% cotton, 40% acrylic yarn. This line comes in just like really cool colors that I really enjoyed, so I bought one of every color. And I thought this would be really great yarn for a granny square cardigan for a kid. And I tried to get Lucy, I like picked out like a cute little color palette for her, and she looked at it and she said no, that she just wanted, because I was going to do like stripes, you know, the granny squares that are each square is a different set of colors. She said that she wanted each square to be its own color and that she wanted all the colors. So that's what I'm doing. And I have kind of worked it out. Like I said, I'm not using an actual pattern, but I did measure her and I wrote down all of her measurements, and then I drew out just like a little grid of what I plan to do, which looks like that. And so the back piece, the plan is to have 5 squares across, and then probably 4 squares down, but we'll see. And then the front panels will be 2 and 2, and then I'll probably do a knitted neckband. And for the sleeves, we'll see how it goes. Did I already tell you this? Have I already shown this on the channel? I feel like I have. I don't know. I think I did on a vlog. Maybe on my like alteration vlog. Anyway, so here's the squares I have so far. According to my measurements, I went with a 3-row granny square. 3-round granny square. I don't know what you call it. So 1, 2, 3. And this is the yellow color. This is the mauve color, which is like my favorite. This is the cream, dark gray, brown, and mustard again. So I so far have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 granny squares, and I need 36, I think. So I'm getting there. I don't know. We'll see. Kind of like seeing how this goes and kind of just making it and rolling with it, and like, we'll see. We'll see. So this is exciting. This is honestly kind of a practice run for the granny square sweater I want to make for myself, because I want to do the same concept, but in my size. So I thought it would be fun to do hers first as a little practice run, because it'll be smaller and, you know. And that is living in my roller skate bag. Okay, I think I have one more project, and then I'm done. So, high maintenance sweaters, high maintenance haircuts. Ugh. I can't wait until it grows out long enough to put it in a braid. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my bangs then though. This is hard. It's hard stuff. I already like, feel like, you know, with this hair, with like the curtain bangs and everything, like I always go short and like that's fine, whatever. But with the curtain bangs, I was like, okay, like kind of the vibe that you hope for is like, you know, kind of like cool 70s rock and roll girl, you know, like Heart or something. But I am afraid sometimes, since I got it cut this way, that it's more like 90s anchor woman or something. 90s businesswoman, or just like total mom. I know I'm a mom, but I don't really want the mom vibe. But or like just, I don't know. Also, I feel like it's like BTS or something, you know, like a kind of young, boyish kind of thing. Which, I don't know. I feel like there's lots of ways this haircut could look. I need to just put it back. I hate this. Oh my god. Can I just put it up? Should I wear my scrunchie? Should I just put my scrunchie in? Okay. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. I'm not the type of person that can wear their hair down for any length of time because it bugs the shit out of me. You know. Okay. Okay, it's fine. This is fine, right? I should have put the scrunchie in. Where's the scrunchie? No, it's too big. It like sticks out too far from my... Okay. Anyway, let's move on to my last project, which is a huge disappointment. It is this. This is, again, Moonstone Dyeworks yarn. I don't know why I'm using so much Moonstone Dyeworks. Because I have it. So this is a project that I started a while ago and then I put down because the stitch pattern was bumming me out because it was just like not that fun. It is the sweater number 21 by My Favorite Things Knit. Knits knitwear. And it's an all-over mesh lace pullover. And my vision for this was like kind of oversized, long, you know, wear over leggings kind of thing. It calls for bulky weight yarn held together with a lace weight. Ugh. I did so good like the first half of this video, like not messing with my hair, but I'm already excited for it to grow up. So anyway, it calls for a bulky weight yarn held together with a lace weight yarn. I decided to go with just a bulky weight yarn. I started it a long time ago. I dyed the yarn for it. I set aside the exact right amount of yarn that I was gonna need, and then I started it, and then I got bored with the stitch pattern because it's all over just double yarn overs and stuff, and knit two togethers and slip stitch knits. And then I picked it up recently. I was like, okay, I'm ready to start this thing again. I really want the sweater, so I started it. I started working on it again, and I got about here. So that's the front, that's the back. It's all joined in the round. And by the way, this is Moonstone Dyeworks Bulky Merino, which is 100% superwash merino. I think it's in the Frankenstein colorway. I don't know, like I said, I haven't dyed in a while. But I think I called this Frankenstein. I could be wrong about that though. But yeah, I got to this point, like I picked it up again and I knitted most of this and then realized I was gonna run out of yarn, and that also I probably picked a size too big. So I picked the second size, and I just realized that, oh, I was gonna run out of yarn. I did not have enough yarn to make that size. And I was like, it's gonna be a little too oversized anyway. Like I got to that point where I joined in the round and I was just like, this is too much. So I looked at the pattern again and realized that the smallest size really was what was gonna be best for me, and that then I would have enough yarn. And so I ripped it all out and I started completely over. And I knit to this point again. And the size looked great. I was like super happy with how it was fitting. And I was only like marginally farther along with the yarn that I had used from last time. And I was like, am I still gonna run out of yarn? And so I looked at the pattern again, and I don't know what I was thinking when I originally dyed the yarn for this, but I don't have enough yarn. I have 4 skeins of this bulky, which is about 440-ish yards total. And the pattern calls for more than that. It's one of these patterns, though, that is kind of like gets my goat. I don't like it when pattern writers do this. Ugh! Sorry, my hair's... Why did I get bangs? Okay, so some patterns on Ravelry are written and advertised this way, where instead of saying for all these different sizes, you're going to need this yardage or meterage of this weight of yarn, right? That's what I like. But some people say for all these different sizes, you're going to need this many skeins of this particular yarn. And yeah, then you just have to, like if you're not using that yarn, you gotta like see how much yardage it is in that yarn, and then that's the yardage you need in your yarn, and you just have to do like one additional half step of math. I just don't like when it does that, because I think that's kind of lame, because like most people aren't just going to use that yarn. They want yardage for whatever yarn they want to use. So I realized what I did. I looked at grams. She says in the pattern that for this size you need this many grams of this particular yarn, and I ignored the yardage like an idiot. And so I dyed up that many grams in my yarn. So I do not have enough yardage. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I have since put it down. I haven't touched it in a couple days. I was banging on it. I was really knocking it out. I was knitting so fast on it. I knit so much. I knit this twice. By the way, I'm using a size US 13. So it's big. It's bulky. And I was like, I'm going to get this thing done so fast, and I'm so excited because I really want to wear it. I like the idea. I like the color. It's drop sleeve. It's everything I wanted. So I'm here. So like this is the sleeve separation here. I'm about an inch past the sleeve separation, or whatever. You know what I mean. And I have this much left, which is going to be about 1 row, or maybe 2. And then I have 2 skeins left. This is 2 skeins, and I have 2 skeins left. So if I could choose to continue knitting and just see how it goes and see what I get, I would switch to working on the sleeves, do the sleeves. Hopefully the sleeves would only take one skein, I don't know. And then see how far I could get on the body. Worst case scenario is I have an extremely cropped, bulky sweater. Best case scenario is it just works out. I don't know what to do. I don't have more of this bulky weight yarn. I'm not buying more yarn from my supplier because you have to buy a lot of yarn to get, you know, because wholesale and stuff. And I'm not dyeing right now, so I'm not buying undyed yarn. And plus I dyed this yarn over a year ago, and so if I just dyed a couple more skeins now, the lots would be different. If I got extremely lucky, it wouldn't be noticeable, but unlikely. And I don't necessarily want to just get some other bulky white yarn and do like a color blocking thing, because that just doesn't seem like it would go with this. I don't know what to do. We'll see. It's in timeout right now. It's in timeout. I don't want to think about it right now. I spent like a whole week of my knitting time on this thing. And I'm bummed. I'm like for real, totally bummed. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Let's move on, because I don't have anything else to say. Productive. I think that's it. Is that everything? I think that's everything. Okay. Thank you for joining me in this episode where I knit for other people. I complain about my own knitting. I mess with my hair, which is another little bit of a pet peeve of mine with like YouTube people, is that when they spend their whole time looking in their own viewfinder going like this. I never want to be that person, and now I am that person. I'm proud of myself. I spent the first half of the video not touching it. Anyway, gosh. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate your time. I love making videos where I make you look at what I'm knitting, and I love that you are here with me to watch said videos. What are you working on right now? Have you made any knitted scrunchies? I would love to hear about that. I became low-key obsessed with knitted scrunchies for like 2 days before I finally cast one on, and I'm pretty thrilled about it. I think it's such a cool idea, and I like it. Let me know in the comments below what you have been working on. Have you been working on little tiny gift knitting projects? I've noticed in the world of knitting YouTube, there are a ton of videos going around right now on like gift knit ideas. So I'd love to know if you are doing that. Also, if you're knitting a sweater right now, please tell me what sweater you're knitting, because I need sweater inspiration, because obviously the one I have right now, I need new sweater inspiration. I'm considering casting on the Salty Days sweater as my next sweater cast on, because I have yarn for it, and I think it's great. I hope you're having a lovely day. I hope you have a lovely evening. If you like this video, please feel free to like it, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That would be lovely. I will see you in the next one. Bye!